Hello and welcome to the what we are, the DrivingMaul show. That's what we are. Dearie me. On Monday at 8 p.m. Yes, going to you live Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And you can also listen to us as a podcast as well. Obviously, you can catch up on those videos. And do join us either on YouTube or on Facebook, so you can actually give comments. You can watch on the old X or Twitter, or what the hell it's called nowadays. But you can't comment on there because, hey, such a wonderful platform that Elon Musk is building. So yes, so go ahead and do that. The reviewer says 8 internationals this past weekend, with France, Ireland having the biggest winning margin. Wow, there we go. He's joined us on the old YouTubes, and joining me live is Steve. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to be here again. Another great weekend of rugby, right? Heaps of matches, lots of entertainment. The game you thought was going to be the best game was the worst game. The game you thought was going to be the worst game was probably the best game. So, voila, rugby, everyone. Welcome to 2024. It's amazing. We're back. Good to be back again, right?
Absolutely. I'm not supposed to 8 internationals.
Yeah,
wow.
Portugal and Belgium, Netherlands, and all those played as well. Big upset for reviewer was going to kill me if I get this wrong, so I've got it wrong already. Belgium beat Portugal. He's going to kill me.
Yes,
yeah, 10-6.
I did see that. Yep.
So World big upset there.
World Cup appearing. World Cup lovies. Portugal. Yep.
And Netherlands missed a kick at goal to beat someone else as well, which would have been a major upset, but missed it away to the side. So, a couple of big matches in the lower leagues, or should I say Tier 2 of rugby. But good to see them playing, right? Getting some game time. And although, as much as we love Portugal's and like things like that, it's good to see the other nations actually stepping up and going, hey, we're down here too. We're not so bad. We just beat your lovely glory boys from the World Cup. So good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, you don't want them having an armchair ride. You do want them to be challenged, and that's how they get better at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You do wonder, though, for Portugal, where they were definitely strengthened by their sevens players in a World Cup, in an Olympic year. How many of those players had just been off to play sevens, like Anton Dupont for the Olympics before coming back to play rugby union, play like 15s again. I didn't say rugby union again. Well, yeah, look, 15s is rugby union. Sevens is a different sport entirely that we don't really talk about too much. Algeria beat Senegal 26-12. The obligatory random match of the weekend. I'll be honest with you, I missed that one. Not one of the ones that was on my list, but there we go. That one flew under the radar. But congratulations, Senegal. Well done. Congratulations, Algeria, who beat Senegal. Jeez, I'm even getting it wrong as to when I got the result in front of me. So yes, I'll be honest, I didn't see those. But before we get into the Six Nations, which is what we're going to be mainly talking about on this one, on the rugby TV. There's various places where you can actually watch these games. Apparently, Simon's letting us know. Log into our YouTubes to see that on that one. So, but let's just round up some Super Rugby stuff that's been going on. None of these, I'll be honest, have I seen. But the Highlanders beat Moana Pacifica 36-28. Suntory Sun Goliath got thumped by the Blues 7-43. The Reds lost to the Force 19-21. Rebels beat the Waratahs 38-12. Brumbies beat the Fijian Drua 43-40, where tackling apparently was entirely optional, which having seen what's happened to Patrick Tuipulotu, you can fully understand. Munster beats the Crusaders 21-19. Munster, who have an entire team and 3 squads injured apparently, but still somehow managed to beat the Crusaders. And then Saitama Wild Knights beat the Chiefs 38-14. Now, amongst all of those, it looks all right. Says, the Highlanders had a slow start, 21-0 down. There you go. Of all those, that's the most interesting news out of all that is injuries, in all honesty. Because I'll be honest, are there any results there that you kind of give any weight to at all?
No. I don't give a slither of weight. I don't give a lettuce leaf of weight to any of those perform. Like I said, like we watched the Crusaders Munster game as a secondary on stream while we're doing a Six Nations game. Ripped to sleep up at 3 a.m. But we watched that on the secondary, and honestly, we talked about how the performances in these games as a team, as a unit, mean as a scoreboard, mean absolutely nothing. All I would look for in those games would be individual performances. Who actually looks like they're up to this level? Who's not looking like they're treading water and struggling massively? Who's looking like they could actually adapt to this sort of level? That was it for me. It's good to see. It's good to see the teams are out. It's good to see the players are out and all that sort of jazz. But as a result, as a squad performance, not at all. I mean, that Munster's Crusaders game, neither side looked like they wanted to win. They wanted to score tries. And there was no like tactical sort of 3-pointers at all. It was 3 tries, 1 misconversion after the 80th minute by the Crusaders, 2 of equal. I mean, how much of a travesty would that be? 21-21 for this massive game. Unfortunately for the Crusaders.
This is the World Club Championship. I mean, how can you? I mean, come on.
They even have a trophy presentation.
And also the cross-border competition. I mean, these are massive competitions that will go down in history alongside the tens, the Sydney Tens competition. I mean, these are things these are weighty things that you build whole cabinets to put into. Surely.
Munster had as much joy in their faces lifting that trophy as Finn Russell had lifting the trophy at the end of the Scotland-Wales game, which is a bit like, someone else take it, please. Finn Russell walked around that stadium for like 10 minutes with the cameras on him, and he's holding it, and he's trying to give it to all of his teammates, and no one wanted it. It was the funniest thing ever. And that's what Munster was like, yeah, put it down, and they were gone. That tells you a story.
Now, look, 41,000 in attendance in Cork. Now, look, I'm not surprised. How often do you get an opportunity to see the Crusaders? One of these biggest names in club rugby globally. The last time they played up there was probably that game where they played. One game was against the Sharks at Twickenham because of the Christchurch earthquakes, when they couldn't play any games at home.
They did. Yes.
So we're talking like a decade ago or something silly. This is your one chance in a decade to see the Crusaders if you live in the Northern Hemisphere or in Europe. Of course you're going to go. 2011. Thank you, reviewer. So over a decade ago was your last chance to see the Crusaders play in Europe. So of course you're going to go along and see that. Also, if the Harlem Globetrotters come and play in Waihe, I'll go watch them too, because I don't get to see them either. Do I think that their win means anything? Hell no, but it'd be good fun to watch.
It was a good spectacle. It was fun. I think it's a good idea. Is it worth doing again? Sure, if the finances for it hold up and the teams are interested, it's cool. It's good to get these teams. Hey, why not have Munster come here? Why not have other teams come to New Zealand as well? I mean, that would probably sell us. I'd go see, I don't know, anyone. I'll go see Harlequins or I'd go see Glasgow. Come on.
We're so arrogant down here. We just think they're second-rate teams.
Yeah, blinders. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that too. It's like, Glasgow Warriors? Who the hell are they? Do they play in Taranaki? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll just go over there. I mean, that's a bit of a credit to the Northern Hemisphere, isn't it? Saying they're a bit more open-minded than everyone here. Ouch. There goes all the New Zealand viewers. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, let's not look like New Zealand's in the name of the channel. I mean, hell. So yes, I mean, so the biggest thing that's come out of this is Patrick Tuipulotu being out for 4 to 8 weeks. Which with his having broken something or other. Again, you can see how interested I am in these preseason games. I can't remember what he broke, but he's out for a while, and that's a real shame for the Blues. I mean, that kind of leadership I think is important for the Blues for that one. So yes, I think the 41,000 in Cork is not the traditional rugby stadium in Cork. That's a lot smaller. Of course, they're going to do that. Jaw, thank you, Nocturnal Rights. So unfortunately, Patrick Tuipulotu's eating his dinner through a straw for the next couple of weeks. Look, wish him hopefully he gets better as soon as possible. Joke, look, all the other bits of jokes, but yeah, I think he's a big loss to the Blues. Having his experience and his power in that second row is going to be a big thing for them. But at the end of the day, as we said before, the regular season for the Super Rugby doesn't really matter because you're going to get into the finals anyway, and he'll be there at finals time. So he'll be nicely rested and won't be knackered come finals time. So perfect.
I mean, he's 31 years of age. I think, like I said to you earlier when we were looking, when I sent you that link, I think it's time for him to go to France. Go to France, go to Japan, Patrick, properly. It's time to go cash in. All Black Dream gone. I don't see him getting anywhere higher on us. Why would he stay here other than that, right? He must have the All Black Dream. He must have that, foggy mind. So 31 years old. I mean, he's injured more than he's fit. Wasn't he missing, last 2 or 3 seasons, he's missed the bulk of the years. So, not being mean, it's like I don't mind him as a player. He plays for the Blues. So for anyone for the Blues, that's a pretty high praise from me. But for personally, cash in before you have absolutely no value.
Look, I think you got to remember that I think he's actually also got a lot of a loyalty to New Zealand rugby. Remember, this was a guy who, if we go back to when Ireland beat New Zealand for the first time ever over in the USA, you remember that Patrick Tuipulotu missed that game because he'd flown back to New Zealand. Why? Because there was a problem with one of his drugs tests, and they appealed it, and it was and he didn't get banned for it, but that's why he left at the time. And not seeing New Zealand rugby stuck by him, and I think there's a bunch of loyalty there as well, that they supported him through that, and so look, I can see him wanting to stick around because of that loyalty as well. But also it's all about the money. It's also about living with family as well and being around far now, etc. So look, yeah, I can see that why he would might not want to go overseas. Not every player does want to go overseas for money, right? Some players do like to stay home for other reasons. It's not. Yes, they are professionals, but we don't all make every single one of our choices purely based on cash, unless you're Steve, of course, who's still 100%. Living in Chicago and has never left.
100%. Never left. Oh, I was there for 3 months last year. What are you talking about?
I mean, living wise, you've never.
Well. House prices are too expensive these days. You've got to make do with what you got.
Yeah, so Steve will take a sabbatical elsewhere, just like I'll take a sabbatical with Japan, but he won't actually. They won't move full time.
MLR clubs, URC clubs, Premiership clubs, top footing. I'm learning French. You got any position? I'll sell programs. I am there. Get me off to I'll go sit with Matt Giddo and Ma'a Nonu, and I'll hold their drinks for them. Get me some money. I agree with Nocturnal. Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a better reason to go overseas.
So yes, for those of you who were listening to the podcast, Nocturnal says some players want to get away from family. Yeah, but true. Anyway, let's move on, because otherwise we're going to, we should actually at some point try and get through and move on to other topics. But I think that's yes, the fun one, because hey, we haven't done enough bashing of New Zealand rugby administration. Let's have according to Gregor Paul in the New Zealand Herald. So look, if he's wrong, then all apologies to the administrators. But apparently, you've already burnt through your 200 million. Well done. I don't think it's so, and apparently, they will have burnt through it by 2031. So look, there is time to turn things round. All right, there is but it's an oil tanker, and it's going to take some doing. But look, at the end of the day, funny enough, Silver Lake came in and said, "Hey, we can make you lots of money," and those predictions have been not on the ball, and it's costing a lot more to actually try and raise money, and they're not raising as much money as they said they were going to. So, funnily enough, all of those extra money from the Silver Lake investment isn't appearing. On top of that, obviously, they've sold a percentage of all their money, or of all their income, and boy, oh boy, funny that's all heading off to Silver Lake now. So well done, New Zealand Rugby. And at the time, I said, look, this isn't necessarily a bad thing to do if you've got the right people at the top to invest the money properly and to make the most of it. My problem at the time was that it was the current crowd at the top that got them into this shit situation in the first place, with wanting to go and get this money, and therefore I didn't trust them to spend the money well. And funny enough, they haven't by the looks of things. It does appear that was also they seem to reading between the lines here. There was another money when they're and it is percentage of revenue, not profit as well. Yes, there was another bit of it here, which was about that there was a second tranche that was supposed to be tried to sell to New Zealand investors. Apparently, they approached all the kind of New Zealand 19 institutions. They all went, no thanks, thinking that yes, investing in New Zealand rugby wasn't a good move. For the relatively, no one wants to. It was too small of an investment, and there was no liquidity in the fund, so no one wanted to commit. Funny that. With no institutional buyers in New Zealand, they went, oh well, Silver Lake are going to have the rest then. And the Players Association were like, hang on, no, that's not what we agreed when we first signed up to this. And then the provincial unions were like, we want our cash, go take it. So it's good to see that all three parts of New Zealand rugby are on board with each other and working hand in hand. But clearly not. But it also, to me, screams of, we kind of left it late so that once we told the Players Association we were going to do this, it was too late for them to do anything else. It's just a mess, and you just hope that they don't go insolvent and take the game down with them.
No, there's no hope. Do you have any faith? Do you have any trust? Like, trust is a pretty big deal for a thing like this. Don't you just like inherently trust these brands, right? We do. We trust New Zealand rugby. We trust New Zealand football. We trust New Zealand netball, right? You trust that those bodies are going to do the right thing, naturally for their sport, because that's their job, is to look after their sport, But boy, is there a brand that, like, in the country is more wayward with their direction, with their problem solving, with their decisions, all that sort of stuff. It's like everything they do is based on their instant gratitude they get, whether they've done the wrong or right thing. And if they don't get what they want out of it in approval, they completely swing the other way, and they're not backing up their own decisions on anything they're doing either. So, hey, I have no faith. This money's gone. I mean, kiss it goodbye now. 2021, it might as well have been gone before they even had it. That's how much trust I have that they're going to do anything. That whole board, to me, you need to chop the head off the snake. Everything you read is bad. What good have they done? What good have they done? I hardly see anything. The game has gone downhill so much here in the last couple of years. It is, like you say, it is scary that the whole castle is going to collapse on top of them, and then they just run away, right?
Yeah, look, it's as Dr. Rice, New Zealand rugby is a secret squirrel in nature. Not many people have a clue what's going on. Absolutely, they're kind of like, oh no, it's owned. The All Blacks is owned by the people. Bullshit. It's owned by a private company, which is New Zealand Rugby, who doesn't like anyone to question them or to have any kind of idea of transparency. The idea that they were going to set this New Zealand Rugby capital piece and that they'd be transparent about it was absolutely laughable for a company, for a group that's never been transparent. So, look, this was doomed from the start, unfortunately. And as I say, let's just hope they don't take the whole thing down with them. There are now, to be fair to rugby in New Zealand, not to New Zealand Rugby, but to rugby in New Zealand, there are some provinces that seem to have an idea of how to go forwards. And the provider here is some, okay? One of those is not Auckland Rugby, by the way, if anyone's wondering.
Surprise.
Surprise. But there's a couple around here that seem to have their heads together. Northland is one of them that's managed to get themselves the Women's Rugby World Cup hosted there, got a big investment from that, and seem to be going in the right direction. Bay of Plenty, remember, they were the ones that actually went, you know what? It's all a bit of a shit show in New Zealand. Hey, this Forrester's setting up his own league. Let's jump on board with that with China. Unfortunately for them, it fell through. But at least they were actually forward thinking and actually looking at other options. And then you got Counties Manukau, which is another one that has doing some good things. And one of the things I actually noticed was they've actually hired somebody, or they're advertising to hire somebody. Sorry. Whose job it was to actually liaise with the schools about making sure they all had rugby teams.
Did you apply?
I didn't apply, but I looked at him and just went, this is one of the roles I have been saying that Thames Valley Rugby should do. Somebody to actually work with the schools to make sure you have first 15 rugby. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Now, Auckland, Canterbury, Wellington, they don't necessarily have to do it that much because the big schools will do it for them. Now, it doesn't mean all the little schools don't have teams and they're missing out there. That's where they need to invest there. But it was actually interesting to see them actually not just have this community role to work with blah, blah, blah and run workshops, but to actually work with schools to deliver. I thought that actually was showed a province that actually was looking at what their problems were, i.e., the drop off of kids in high school, and so to and actually look at trying to fix that problem. So to me, that was it was good to see at least one franchise, at least one province seems to be looking at trying to do things right in that kind of way. Look, I haven't name dropped all the ones I think are doing good jobs. Some other ones are doing some good jobs, others are not. So yes, I've piled on Auckland because hey, they deserve it. And we've approached them several times to try and help them, and every time it's been an absolute disaster. So yes, that's part of it. And then they're in the chat there. Tauranga, fourth biggest city, should have a professional team. Someone points out they haven't got a stadium, so how can you have a team? Good point. And that's all part of Tauranga's growing problem is the fact that there's been no town planning, and when they did have a council there, it was a total basket case, and hence why they had to basically get them all fired, and the government step in and try to make the place run properly. So yes, Tauranga unfortunately has not grown the way it should have done, and it grew very quickly in a short amount of time, and it's a bit of a mess and needs some sorting out.
I'll tell you what. One thing I've learned over the last couple of years is if you're interested in something, i.e., rugby fans, the less deep you look, the better it is for your interest in the sport. I tell you what, the deeper you look, the worse everything gets. It's just watch the sport, enjoy the sport, then just go work in the garden. I mean, good God, it's so much disaster, right? The deeper you look into the stuff, financial issues, leadership issues, nutcase issues, poor decisions. I mean, you're just talking about city planning and politics and governments and councils, and it's just like, just to take me to the paddock, kick the ball, bad luck, you lost, let's go home. I mean, it's just a travesty, and there's no trust in these places. There's no accountability for a lot of them as well, and everyone is just out for number one. You know, I'm out to make myself money, like talk about as number one priority, a name, and just promote myself really. And if I kill X, Y, Z on my way up, bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, you missed out the misogyny, the homophobia,
yeah, the list goes on. Yeah, case in point.
So yes. So apparently in 1941, Tauranga had 3,000 people. Yeah, it's a bit bigger than that now. So actually, on that note, I've stayed. I don't bother with Twitter anymore. I've not looked at. I use Facebook mainly for selling my wooden toy stables and farm buildings and talking to people on Messenger, and that means I have seen zero kind of social media social media comments on the 3 Six Nations games from the weekend. I've seen a couple of people in some local chat. I haven't really read up about any of the games either. I've just purely watched them, and you know what? I enjoyed all 3 games. I thought it was a good weekend of rugby. I had no problem with refereeing, which I've seen from a lot of other games or comments. I'll be honest with you, 2023, I did not enjoy rugby. Just the amount of negativity around it all was awful. Someone you said, I thought Steve was in charge of Facebook Messenger. No, Stephen Harris. It does post on my page though. And in 2023, I guess I got too bogged down with all this, oh God, inconsistent refereeing, all the referees, and all the negativity around it. I just kept away from all of that this weekend, just watched the games and thought, there were 3 enjoyable games. How did you see it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a bit like you. I suppose I don't really go too much near social media as much either, though. I very much stay off Xy Twitter. I'm a very, very, very infrequent Facebook user as well. So, much the same for me. So we streamed them, streamed watch parties with them, with our crew of usual cronies that are there to watch rugby with. And I mean, that's probably my biggest feedback socially of people is on streams, which we have quite a good crew of very knowledgeable people that tune in and watch and see things a different way. That's what I think I enjoy about it the most is with those streams is you get a lot of feedback from different opinions that's 90% of the time, not hatred or not kicking people, not the really bad stuff. It's like, well, how about, this sort of view from this sort of angle is why this sort of happened, or maybe, he thought this sort of thing, which is a lot more constructive, I feel, and instead of being instantly putting you on the defensive and, like you say, like bogging down your thoughts is like, oh, why are they hating and complaining? It makes you go, oh, well, okay, that makes a little bit more sense from the one angle that I was looking at things. So, but overall, the games, yeah, great games. I mean, I was expecting game one to be the stunner. That's when I was really looking forward to. But boy, oh boy, day two was just about equal, well, better, I think. Overall, those two matches were phenomenal. I mean, there's a couple of marginal things you complain about, but yeah, I just don't really like hating on the referees so much unless there's glaring things. I think the rule changes they've kind of done with the TMO kind of, I think, made a bit more of effect. The fact that they can only rule or go back to, or no, they can only interrupt the game if it's like a foul play sort of act. If it's something like 4 pass or whatever, they can't unless they're called on. So they can only inject if it's something like terribly bad, like a massive high shot or something like that, which I think kind of cleaned it up a little bit because you didn't have so much of the, hey, check, sort of stuff throughout the game. So overall, I mean, there's a lot of cards, justified, you can't argue. Overall, pretty much marginal things missed that, you see replay of and go, oh, he should have picked that up, but nothing glaringly bad. So, yeah, overall, I'd give it a very enjoyable weekend. Close, exciting games. All teams performing, all teams having weaknesses, and learned a lot about the 6 teams in the competition. So I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, to keep me up at 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, if we had boring games, I would have been streaming me sleep. So it was good to see, keep you awake, nice and exciting. So yeah, man, I was pinging wide awake at all hours of the night. It was great. Really enjoyed it. And results, no upsets, but as we expected, but no one looked completely flushed, right? Everyone looked like they actually held their own in a lot of stanzas of the game. So really excited for round 2, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things we were talking about beforehand were for Italy and Wales was to be competitive, and they 100%. Were. So that was their goal for this season, right? So sometimes there are low goals. Nocturnal Rights yeah. Everyone ignores Law 15. What's Law 15? Staying on your feet at the breakdown. Yes, they have done, but they have done for years, right? Let's just be blunt here, okay?
Yeah.
We can get tied down about that. We can get tied down about, oh, no, you know what? They also ignore feeding at the scrum. They're still doing that as well, folks. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of laws. What the written law and the way it's refereed and are 2 different things. Let's just be honest about it and acknowledge it, accept it, and move on. Because we can get angry about it the whole time, but then we are just angry people shouting at clouds, angry old men, right? So there's no point anymore because accept that that's how it is.
I watched the game, right? And little things like that. Like, I think a lot from last year come down to the thing that's, do we want robots refereeing this game where every single little tiny law broken is refereed, which gives us a game that literally starts every 2 seconds? Or do we want the game to be refereed by a human that, he's going to miss some things, but we should get a bit more fun, exciting ball and play sort of game? And okay, sure. I mean, there was things missed. I mean, there was the old, going over rucks and raking the ball back, which you're not allowed to do anymore. There's a lot of that. Yeah, the scrums. I mean, there was not straight line outs, but hey, there was some called. I mean, he got some wrong. He got some, that were okay that he called as a penalty, So it's small things. No one got out there and got, clotheslined and suplexed through the posts, and we're going, oh my God. And, it's nothing major. It's like, in the end, you just want to look at the game and say, was it a fun game? Did I enjoy it? And did we have fun? And was the crowd entertained? And that sort of thing. That's how I look at it now. Otherwise than going, well, he missed 16 illegal rucks. He entered 3 millimeters to the side, and that just takes the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm trying to, you're right. Look, if they refereed Law 15, i.e. staying on your feet at the rucks, it would be a good idea. Absolutely. But they don't. We've ranted about that kind of stuff before. And we've gone like, okay, what law changes would you like to see? And generally the answer is, I'd actually like the laws to be refereed, please. So yeah, look, I'm not going to get tied up in that because I say, hey, you're going to have to send me a rant again, like you always kind of have. So let's kick off with the first one then, which was France versus Ireland. And essentially, Ireland took a stranglehold of this game early on, got themselves into the lead and just stayed there. and they just didn't let France have the ball, which was a tactic we've seen Ireland use for a lot. A lot of people are kind of like, you know what, the idea is you should kick the ball more, and it's easier to defend than it is to attack. Well, Ireland don't seem to do that. Yes, they do when appropriate, and they did kick 33 times to 20 times by France. So they did kick more times, but they do like just to play with the ball in hand and go, if you haven't got the ball, you can't score, and we will eventually. And one of the things that I think that I think France struggled with here, and one of the things that I had the pleasure of having a chat with. I've gone blank. New Zealand, great coach. Anyway, was an All Blacks coach, assistant coach, Wayne Smith. There we go. Chat with Wayne Smith, and he's like, "Yep." After
fancy.
After 3 or 4, they kind of did 3 or 4 phases. Essentially, you need to reset because you'll lose your structure. Now I said, "What does that mean? Kicking away?" And he's like, "No, not necessarily. You can. That's one option. The other option is to actually just reset and get your structures together." Now maybe that's maybe that's just give it to someone to punch it over the line where everyone gets back into position and you can start going through your phases again. And France, to me, seemed to struggle with that. If they had one phase where they kind of got knocked backwards or things didn't go the way they wanted, then the next phase, they'd lose the ball within 2 phases after that because they just couldn't reset themselves to go through to get their structures back again. Once Ireland rattled them, and to me that was France's biggest problem here. We'll talk about people talk about like their defense and all this kind of stuff, but if you can't do what you want to do, you're not going to win the game. And I think that's what Ireland did very well, was to disrupt one play or one phase, and then France just lost their structures. I'm not going to say composure because we didn't have people throwing haymakers, but they just lost their kind of they lost their structures and couldn't get it back. Was what I saw from France.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's simply the few times they did have the ball, they weren't having players going forward, were they? They were catching the ball behind them. They were flat-footed. They were getting the ball in positions where they didn't really have a plan of where they were going to go. So Ireland probably found it quite easy to disrupt any sort of momentum they got, which certainly counted against them massively. I think, though, and I think this is where a lot of teams over the weekend, so I'm really going to harp on about this a lot, the line-out. The line-out was massive. I mean, if you get a penalty, you kick to touch and you can't do in your own line-out, why bother get a penalty? If you kick for territory and then your line-out just gets swamped, you defensively, you get kicked into your own 22. I mean, you got to credit Crowley here, played a fantastic game for the young number 10. Pinpoint kicking, took on a lot of that pressure, but his forward pack backed him up massively at the set piece. A line-out was huge. Ireland put massive pressure on that. And again, one of your main outlets of getting the ball back is through that line-out. And I think they did massive job there, Ireland, to win that side of the game and put all that pressure on. Again, like you said, keeping the ball, not letting them have the ball, grows that frustration, and then they get a bit desperate. Desperation turns into errors. It turns into poor mistakes and things like that. And that was a key thing. The second key thing I found is that the French ruck didn't have the same impact. There wasn't the same protection. There wasn't the same emphasis, not only on competing to the breakdown, but also protecting their own ball, whereas Ireland were very, very strong around the breakdown and in the ruck work. So they got the ball. They got the ball out quick because they threw extra men in there, obviously. France, on the other hand, struggled to get quick ball, let alone any ball, because they were struggling to get the ball back out of the rucks. Keeping numbers in their backline doesn't help when you only pass 1 or 2 players out and they're getting swamped because the players have overran them or they've had to juggle it and go backwards. So there's a number of things here for France just were not working. But I think ultimately the cards did hurt them quite a bit as well, because they seemed to put things on a bit of a back burner there, didn't they? Especially that first yellow card, you saw them think, okay, let's just try and weather what we can and then try and fight our way back. So you saw their game plan sort of change into a conservative sort of absorption play, and then looking for Willemse to come back, did sort of up their tempo and up their play a little bit. but losing him made them go to that desperation sort of play. And again, without that continuity through the backs and through the open play ball, they were just struggling to get things to the right sort of players. I do see a lot of things, people going on about how Dupont was so sorely missed. I don't really see it. I didn't see a problem with, the work of 9 and 10. I just saw the problem with protection and just flow. I expected France to be really, really well connected from the Bordeaux connections that we talked about last weekend. So I thought, that shouldn't be a problem because you got Lusso and Geminier in there, and those two guys play together, right? And then you've got other guys throughout the backs on the wings that should know, the plays, the way they play, their styles and get that. But I didn't see it. I really didn't see it. They struggled to get it wide. They had danger all over the park and just couldn't get into their flow. And that, to me, again, credit to Ireland, who weren't fantastic. They were just suffocating. And they just didn't even have the ball and didn't let them play their game or get into their flow of the game.
I guess the only thing I would say about Dupont is he can pull something out of nothing, right? He does have
for sure
that ability. And so he has that X factor where, yes, would he have pulled something out of his bag? Yes. Is that difference 20 to 21 points, though? I don't think that's 21 points difference. Okay. But I do think, would it have been closer? Yes. But the problem here, one of the other problems here is Ireland were ahead and France were always chasing the ball, right? Always chasing it. So you got that scoreboard pressure. Initially it kind of blew out a bit because it was 17-24 and then two converted tries, one just before the hooter blew it out to 17-38. But even so, they were always having to chase the game. But you're quite right. I mean, one of the things I was going to talk about during this podcast was that the common thing across these three games was that the team that lost the fewest lineouts won the game. Right. So we used to say no scrum, no win. Nowadays, it's not that. Ireland lost three scrums out of 8. I mean, what the? Sorry, but that's awful. That is very bad. But they won every single one of their lineouts, and France lost 4. Compare that to Wales, Scotland. Wales lost 6 lineouts. Ireland lost 2. Compare that to Italy, England. Italy lost 3 lineouts. England lost 1. The team that lost the most lineouts lost the game at the end of the day. The Wales Scotland one. Well, Wales had 20 lineouts. Scotland only had 6. So a bit different. You can tell there's different playing styles there. And we'll get onto that in a bit. But yeah, the lineout is the most important part of the game at the moment. It's in my view, and it has been for a while now. You have to have that platform to play off. Whereas scrums, look, as long as you're not going backwards and giving up penalties, you just need to hold your own. It's rare nowadays that you can kind of really dominate in the way that England did against Australia back in 2007 at the semi-final of the Rugby World Cup. Not that I really did enjoy that game. And Andrew Sheridan is a god amongst props, obviously. But yeah, it is the lineout is so much more important now than the scrum, and you have to have that platform to play off. What does it give you? It gives you all the forwards in one part of the pitch, just like scrums are supposed to do, and it gives you the rest of the pitch with fewer players in and space to do things. It's that's what makes it important. So yes, it's a massively. I was going to talk about turnovers, but actually it's not as consistent as this because the French turned the ball over 13 times and the Irish 7, which goes back to your point about them not protecting the ball and not protecting the breakdown. Dr. Rice, Sheridan was a god till he encountered Heyman. Carl Heyman. Well, yes, the problem with Carl Heyman is basically he went off and took the money, didn't he? Let's be honest. At the end of the day, and probably should have got an awful lot more All Blacks caps. You can see it in the stats things you're talking about. But I mean, both 5 clean breaks for France, 6 for Ireland. They both missed 20 tackles. Those sort of things we think about as being kind of the key stats. How many clean breaks can we get? Nah, sorry, it's your line out. It's your turnovers. Those are the things that matter. Scramble defense is just so good nowadays that you get a clean break, it often gets closed down. So finishing those can be difficult unless you're Pinot, which when he's amazing. Look, there's still lots of very quality players in this French team. This game doesn't define how the rest of the season will go for them, but they just had a bad start. And as I think we talked about, or listening to I've gone blank as which one. Harping on Rugby, the Irish podcast, Irish Rugby podcast. They're saying like, this is an Ireland team that's been picked to win now. This is not an Ireland team for the next Rugby World Cup, and we talked about that last week. This is an Ireland team to win now. And you know what? If you do that, you've got to win now, and he's done that. So job done for Ireland in that point of view. Yes, they know what they do, and we didn't see many wraparounds because we don't have Johnny Sexton there. So the game plan has evolved a bit, and will evolve, but they've gone for evolution rather than revolution as far as building towards the next Rugby World Cup.
You know what? Speaking of like the number 10 jumper, I don't want to harp on about Mr. Crowley too much, but I mean, to come into that with all that pressure and like say into a win now sort of team, right? And to come in there, I think he had the confidence, by the way, after, 10, 15, 20 minutes of that game, with the way that the set piece was going, that line out, that he could kick a little freer. He could look for those option plays. And his ball to that Ty Byrne try, and Byrne was simply outstanding. I mean, McCarthy was good, and I've seen his comments about how amazing he was, but Byrne, for me, was man of the match in that game. He was simply phenomenal throughout the whole 80 minutes. But his little short ball that popped up for Byrne to score that try, that was kind of the one that really started to break the Irish away from the French scoreboard-wise, was absolutely quality. But he didn't look out of place. And what I liked about Crowley in that performance, because he was such a talking point pre-game, right? Oh, all the pressure's on this young guy. He's going to get targeted. He's up against a very good French side that are going to be able to win. He's the weak link because they've got all this experience, and you got these guys who have been around for years and years and years, right? So he was the target, but he wasn't phenomenal. We talked about it after the game, and it's like, oh, Crowley was great. And it's like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't great. He wasn't great. But what did he do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. He hardly played at first receiver. He had a good game. He had a solid game.
Yeah.
But Aki took a lot of ball at first receiver. He took a stack of ball at first receiver. He didn't really have to do much rather than catch and pass. He kicked well. He's a 10. I mean, okay, it's expected, right? He took his shots to go. I think he missed one for the night. And he just shoveled. Again, he's got, I think we talked about this a bit. Did we talk about this last week, I think, with the way he's going to play, of having that man outside him that is his kind of just crash ball guy who's always going to be there to smack into players. And I think that's what young teams thrive on, because they've got that confidence to, if things do go wrong and if they look up and go, oh dear, we are in a spot ball here. I can't kick. I can't really run. Hey, Bundy, bang. Bundy's just gone through 3 meters in a couple of tackles. He'll recycle quick because, hey, here comes Byrne crashing in. Here comes Omani crashing in. Boof, there goes the ruck. We got the ball here. Have another reset. Other teams don't have that luxury, right? So I think that really helped him. But, hey, he wasn't brilliant, but he was just really, really solid. And he didn't do any stupid errors. Just did the basics well. Got a few good kicks away. And confidence, man, for a young player, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. So great performance from Ireland. And I mean, I looked through all these games, watching them, and every team you could sit and go, you could watch this as an opposition for future weeks. Like I think Scotland are next up here for the French. Scotland can watch this and then go, okay, we should be learning here, because we've seen a lot of things here from Ireland that if we can adapt to our game and put pressure on France the same way, could work in our favour. For Italy, who I think is up against Ireland next week, they're watching that game going, oh, crap, what do we target here? Let's just work on ourselves, because there was very, very little that was poor Okay, Ireland, again, weren't fantastic, but they were very, very consistently solid. They don't drop below that. Some players are up here, but everyone is right, at least at that minimum of just playing a decent game. So they're very, very hard to target. And when that one target has a bit of confidence and he's got get out jail cards and things like that, they're going to be very hard to beat.
Good coaching at the end of the day. Yes. If you've got a young... Yeah. You've got a young guy coming in, you don't put pressure on him. You find ways of relieving pressure. You get other people to stand in as first receiver. You have a get out of jail card for him. Absolutely. It's good coaching. And look, Sunrise says, review, biggest win for Ireland and France ever. The biggest home loss for France in this tournament since 1914. That tells you something. 1914, they weren't big scores. Let's be blunt. They must have been bad back then. Not to us, Aki is so good. No indication of this level when a chief. I've just seen a solid super level player. Yeah, but that was like what, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I mean, how long did people, players, just like other people, develop? Right? Let's be blunt here. I've not got the Irish team up at the moment. But yeah, look, it's he's if he was still the same player as he was at the Chiefs, when he then. He's done something very, very wrong because he last played for the Chiefs in 2014. Yes, 10 years ago, right? He should have changed. He should be better player now. He's had 10 years to practice. So yeah, that's this idea that we remember the players from when we last saw them, i.e. here, like Gareth Anscombe. Well, yes, clearly he's a player that JK doesn't want to play at 10. Okay, fine. On that one, the reviewer. Tries worth 3 points back in 1914, and they won by more than 21 points. Oh, sorry, and the France lost by more than 21 points. Ouch. James Lowe is the one that got away. Look, James Lowe. I loved him and as a player, and I thought his combination with DMAC at the Chiefs was fantastic. Does he fit what the All Blacks want from a left winger? I don't think so. He's not what he doesn't fit. He's not your Julian Surveyor. He's not Rico. He's not. That's not what they want in a left wing. And so, maybe he's the one that got away, but I think he got away and where he got appreciated for what he can do. Whereas here, I think he'd constantly have been. Doesn't have what he's not an All Blacks 11. I think that's
building on what you said there. I think with Archie too, that style that Ireland plays and how they use them is very much more suited to what Archie brings to the table as opposed to what the Chiefs gave him as an opportunities or what they expected from his performance. Right? He's just there. He's a tackle breaker. But ideally, he's just a guy he sucks up defenders, right? He sucks up defenders in a back line. He pulls in to fly half the 10, the 13 all together, and recycles your ball without using too many resources, right? Especially when you get it first receiver, bang, crashes through. Hey, now you've got your 10 ready to go, and you got your winger out there. And what have they got? They've got a prop covering across and a lock running across on the last ruck to cover those fringes, and one winger straight away gives you options and gives you ability to create overlaps because of his power. Chiefs, when I remember him, used it very much like they'd use like Nankerville with as well, like a guy that creates incisions through attacking lines on one-on-one sort of appearances, where for Ireland, I think he likes drawing, like the way he kind of runs, he forces at least two players to tackle him because they know his threat as well. But I think just the way he runs, his style of play draws in more defenders because of the threat he brings and the way he runs the defensive lines.
Let's try to see when Sonny Bill Williams was at the Chiefs. So, he would have replaced Bundy Aki. So yeah, they went from Bundy Aki to Sonny Bill Williams. He was the next guy in. Anyway, let's move on because
moving on.
We're 50 minutes into a 1 hour show. We've got 2 games to go. So I hope you've got nothing planned for 9 o'clock. Italy versus England. Then in this one now. Look, England have never lost to Italy in the Six Nations, and so I didn't expect them to in this one. I also didn't expect them to necessarily dominate them either, to be bluntly, but I did expect them to get a comfortable win. 24-27, Italy finished within a score, but in reality, the converted try there was after the clock had gone dead, And Italy in that second half really just couldn't get going. England got themselves out to a 17-27 lead, and really were pushing for a bonus point try. They should have just kicked the ball out. Let's be blunt, and end of the clock. But no, they decided to go for a scrum. How many times, when time is up, do teams go for a scrum and give up a penalty to the opposition? Seriously, the worst play option to do when time's up is to choose a scrum, because you're giving the referee an opportunity to make a decision that you don't like. But there's just so much going on at the scrum that it can be blown both ways at every single scrum. It's which one screams out the loudest to him. And if your infringement screams out louder than theirs, bad decision. Yeah. So look, don't take a scrum with time up. It's just too much of a lottery. England did, and therefore Italy got within got a losing bonus point. Not that I think that's going to make any difference at all in the grand scheme of things. But on that one, but still, yeah, good halftime, and there were some good halftime talks in this game. In this tournament.
Yeah,
but good halftime talk by Borthwick, because England were trailing 17-14 at halftime, and Italy showed some real nice moves in their backs for their tries.
I tell you what, that Monte Ioane try was. That was Chef's Kiss, beautiful. Oh, man, that was so good. Just his ability to break a tackle, fend a guy, outpace the cover defense. Insane try, incredible try. I don't think he touched the ball enough, especially of that first half. He is an absolute X factor, massive player that is so good to see. Unfortunately, they lost Ange Capazzo before the game, which I thought might have nullified their attack a bit. But boy, that first half, those two tries, Italy know how to turn it on when they want to turn it on. They, attacking wise, I think England's second try, or might have been their first try, was very, very good. That Daly scored, and yes, Daly on the wing, just makes me throw up every single time.
But he came in a lot and played a lot in the middle of the so he played much more as a centre, kind of in that kind of way. Yes, fine. He was on the wing for his try, but at the end of the day, a centre could have ended up there and scored as well. I mean, he wasn't actually the work was done by the other wing.
You know how many tries England could have scored if he actually stayed on his wing? At least two. At least two where there was overlaps and the guy broke the line. And it's like, here, where's the winger? There's grass. I mean, a couple of times, yes, he goes for it, but that's why he's there, right? To do that sort of role. Don't like it. The talent they've got. Put a winger that's X factor, that's going to finish. It was terrible. I mean, look at the difference. Monte Ioane, incredible try. Ali Daly's not doing that. Terrible player. I get his role.
No, terrible winger, not terrible player.
Oh, exactly. In the centres, I quite like Daly. in the centres. Yeah, you're right. Correct. Very, very much correct. But yeah, on the wing, no little X factor. Freddie Stewart, great. Freeman, sorry, no, Tommy Freeman, not Freddie Stewart. Tommy Freeman on the wing, very, very, very good. Very, very good. And again, did come in a lot to look for work. So again, that's my chalk and cheese there. Freeman, much more of a winger than Daly, I would definitely give him. But yeah, he come in, he made line breaks. He was very, very, very dangerous. I thought one of the better players in the park for England. But yeah, the Italians, I want to put a lot of praise on the Italians, the way they played here. That try that they scored, the second try that they scored down the right wing, the defensive work from England there put massive, massive question marks on that for me when they made that breakout wide and they had Joe Marler, Ollie Chisholm, and some other forward were the cover defense. And when you've got four Italian backs that just go pew, straight through, and then Freddie Stewart's there going 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, screw this. He's gone. So just when you see cover defense, you say, oh, they're coming across. And it's like, why are they lumbering so? Because they've got little numbers on their back. That's why. So they did very well at manipulating that. I do question about how England set up the defense from that sort of play. But the Italians are very good. I think they lost their way a bit in their second half. And that just comes down to, I think, that know-how of winning, right? That confidence. Like we talked about Scotland a bit last week as well. Knowing how to not going into a game thinking you're going to win. Italy clearly I fail to believe they go into that game thinking they're going to win. They went into halftime with the lead, and that, I think, kind of fell them apart a little. I think if there was no halftime break, we could have had a different game because England wouldn't have got their little reset. Italy were already in a good mindset and in the game. That time to adjust and reflect and look forward, I think, kind of did them out a little bit because they lost their way. I think they got a little bit flustered. They lost a bit of the structure. They didn't get as much of the ball. They made a few errors. And that little 30 minutes up to about the 70th, they were just not really in their match at all. And England never really looked like scoring a try. I mean, you probably count about 20 phases that go one pass to a forward or even a back that comes in close to the ruck to one that will go more than two passes. But hey, we hope for a different England. I hope for a different England. I hope to see guys that are in that squad that are finishers and skillful players that are the future of English rugby. We didn't get to see them. We didn't get to see the plan. So it seems like we're going to see that same sort of England.
I think it's fair to say that this was not the same England that played South Africa, right? It was. That was the definition of 10-man rugby. This was there was more on show here than there was in that South Africa game. There was
not a chance. No, it's Alex Mitchell, every ruck, box kick. If he was more than 30 meters from the Italian line, he kicked every single time. And the Italians did not box kick very well. The Italians did not kick that well, but they kicked an awful lot. I mean, I don't look at stats. I just look at the game. They kicked an awful lot. We did a poll saying, what will England do next? And the options were kick, kick, and kick. It was terrible. They kicked an awful lot. It was, okay, maybe 5% better. But man, oh man, it certainly wasn't what they could possibly be, I think, if they picked on form throughout the Premiership and throughout their team.
No, I mean, to me, that South Africa versus the South Africa semi-final game by England was the definition of 10-man rugby. We did not see it going 2-10 and those cross-field bombs that we saw a lot of in that game. We saw that the centres in this game played a lot more rugby than in that game by a long stretch. Is this total rugby? No, it's not. But it is at least acknowledging you have more than 10 players on the pitch, and that the last 5 players aren't just there to tackle and to chase ball. Now, England actually kicked less than Ireland. Ireland kicked 33 times. England kicked 31.
But Italy had more ball, I reckon, for longer.
No, according to this, Italy had very little ball. In the first half, Italy had 35% possession.
They dominated the first half.
Sorry?
They dominated the first half.
Sure. But by scoring quickly when they had the ball. You don't have to have possession to England even had more territory in the second half. In the first half, with 57% possession. 57% territory.
Italy's tries were scored from inside their own half.
Yeah. So in the second half, what England did was they camped in the Italian half and they didn't have as much possession in the second half, but they had better territory. So England controlled where the game was played in the second half, which is how they won the game, right? But still, there was. I say this wasn't. I mean, that England South Africa game was. I love the fact that England got close to winning. It was some of the, and I love the fact that from a coach point of view, they found a way to get a team that was nowhere near as good close. Right, but the reality is it was not exciting rugby or fun rugby to watch. In that one, at least we saw. I think we saw a lot more. England do a lot more in this game than we did in that one. So they're heading in the right direction. Players like Daly, Henry Slade, look, good players, but they're not going to be there in the next Rugby World Cup. I don't understand why you're still persevering with these guys, unfortunately, from my point of view.
I want to see stats. Someone will find the stat. How many balls that DrivingMaul and Slade touched in the first half? Because I don't remember saying Slade's name at all in the first 40 minutes, or seeing 13 with the ball in that first 40 minutes. That's how little ball went past 10. That's what it felt like to me. And through either forwards hitting up, he may have done hit-ups, but like inexpensive, actually running the ball, looking to create space. I seen very little go through those midfielders. I seen Daly hitting up more around the ruck than I saw him out on the wing. Things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of thing that it's the same sort of style. Sure, okay, maybe Daly touched the ball more, but it wasn't through sitting out on his wing and actually getting opportunities to score a try. Because, like I said before, they would have probably scored at least 2 more tries if he was actually out on his wing where he should be.
Well, but these guys actually touched the ball in the in the semi-final. It would go to Farrell or whoever's at 10, and it would be kicked. Now
they got the ball because they went to the ruck.
Yeah, but sure, but even so, they actually that's part of the plan and part of the coach thought where they're told to run. Maybe so, but at least it was a plan that didn't involve 9-10 kick.
I want to know
9-10 kick, which is what what the game was.
Fan that I've talked to or spoken to or read from or seen comments from, that is as good as a loss, which I agree. That's a loss. That's a loss for England. Like that should feel like a loss to go within 3 points of Italy, who, let's be honest, if they think they're contenders and Italy are said to be the worst team in the league, they should be not giving away a bonus point for that. Give or take the 80th minute. Doesn't matter. Scoreboard looking at that and looking back, I see this. Ireland is happy. France is not happy. Okay? Italy's happy. England is not. Italy's happy. England's not happy. Scotland and Wales are stoked.
No, I think England are happy coming out of this game.
Really?
They
3 points against Italy.
They were within 4 points. 3-point win. Sorry, 4 points.
Yes.
Look, they've got the win. They were pushing for a bonus point. Sure, it went slightly wrong. They were. I'm not saying actually comfortable winners, but they were. But they weren't going to lose this game, right? In that second half, they had it. They got it under control. Now, not saying they were overly comfortable, but they came out that they controlled that second half. They controlled the result. They didn't quite get the bonus point that they wanted, that they were pushing for. But this game, they're a 10-point. This is a 10-point win, effectively, because
still bad.
I'm sorry, a 10-point win is fine.
It's Italy.
I don't care.
You should be smoking Italy. You should want a 10-point win against Ireland. You should want a 10-point win against France.
Hell no. A 1-point win against Ireland is good. A 1-point win against France. England.
You want to win. This is the thing. Your mentality is win the competition.
No, England are not. No,
it should be.
This England team is a third-place team. Right?
No, for players, for coaching.
I'm sure they're going to try and win it, but where they're a third-place team. They're not as good as France. They're not as good as Ireland.
I agree with that, but I'm saying their mentality. For them going into this, how will they feel? Like, will they treat that as a disappointing result? That's kind of what I'm portraying there. For them to look at the score, should be I feel we should have done better.
They should have got the bonus point at the end of this game, right? But to say that this is as good as a loss, no. This is still a win, and sure, they should have picked up that bonus point, but it's a bonus point, right? It's a bonus to get that. So to me, this is the review says, "Oh no, sorry, England are a 4th-place team." Look, England are 3rd, 4th, right? They're battling out with Scotland for that.
Hey, if anyone comes back talking about Ethan Roots as well, I'm going to throw you in the river. Absolute England, Northern Hemisphere has a fascination with average New Zealand rugby players. I'm sorry. Ethan Roots is not international quality. He certainly wasn't a man of the match performance. You guys need to sort your stuff out. I'm sorry. He is average. He is the definition of an average rugby player because he's average at carrying the ball. He's average at ruck work. He's average at just everything. He excels at nothing. Man of the match? Sorry, player of the match? No, player in the stands. Give him a beer.
I think Ben Earl had a better game than him.
Oh, 100%.
So
I think everyone had a better game than him.
Look, I don't think he had a particularly bad game, but yeah, no, not as you say, not man of the match performance.
He was the one that missed the initial tackle on Monte Ioane at the end as well.
So Phil saying, look, England's. So last week we went through basically what each team is expecting and wanting for this game in this tournament, and essentially it is Ireland and France both were expecting to win this. England, Scotland both expecting to be 3rd. Wales and Italy both expecting to be 5th. right? That's your expectations coming into this one. So yes, while you're saying that England are a fourth place team, no, both England and Scotland are third place teams. That's their target for having a pass or a good performance in this tournament. So one of them is going to fail. Let's be blunt here. Not everyone can succeed. Welcome to reality, folks. It's life. It's not.
Everyone gets a participation medal. Come on.
So anyway, that's the England game. Oh my God!
I'm finding on the England game. Can I pick one thing I did not like about that game by the referee? The try that Alex Mitchell scored, I feel like that should have been pulled back, considering it was a forward pass to the break on the left, and then there was a ruck near the line, and then Mitchell twisted out those couple of tackles. I kind of felt like he was held, as in one of the defenders had a hand on his leg while his knees were on the floor when he got back up and scored the try. Argue with me if you like. That's just my thoughts on it. But, I mean, I don't care. It was minimal, and you can argue that, hey, maybe he didn't have his arms on him. But when they watch 100 they don't watch 100 replays of it, and you look back and go, well, that pass was glaringly forward, but okay. And then, I feel like that was a bit of a double miss. But I'm not losing sleep over it. You know what I mean?
You're going down law 15 here with me in this one. Okay, right?
Well, a player is held if someone is his knees on the ground, he's being touched.
Yes, I agree on that one. Okay, but haven't you learned we haven't been counting forward passes since 2007? Okay, so that's just something. Why are you suddenly getting upset about forward passes?
I just feel like they looked at so many other things, but they didn't look at all.
The number of times I saw things like forward pass, and it was just play on.
Oh yeah,
but it was just
general play. This is resulting in a try. That's the thing about it.
They're just like staying on your feet at the ruck, feeding forward passes. They're all gone.
They're general play. I'm talking about something resulting in a try, which is generally what they would look at.
They just don't call it anymore. Okay, it's not actually part of the real rules. It might be written down.
Why do we have rules then?
Well, it's a bit like having silent letters in English. Okay, why have silent letters if you don't say them? What's the point, right? It's the same sort of thing. We just have them there because, hey, it's a bit of fun, and it stops you throwing it too deliberately forwards.
We're going to have a YouTube boxing fight. Ethan Roots, bring it on.
No, you do realise he actually ripped someone's ligaments off because the guy refused to tap out.
Bring it on. Bring it on, Ethan. Let's go.
You wish he even pays attention to this show.
We're here to build viewers. Come on. Calling you out, Ethan.
Well, the goalie. Jesus.
Twickenham half time. Let's go.
You just want the free flight. Wales, Scotland.
Scotland, let's go.
I can't. Can I say the actual word? The game of two halves? No. Boy, this is
be creative. Come on.
Scotland clearly dominated this. It's a lead 20-0. Get a try after half time, take 27-0-27, and then just go to sleep. Just totally, just take the foot off the gas. I think it's won. And look, Wales did some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. You can only play, but you can only play what you're up against. But what happened to Scotland? They just gave up. All they had to do was just hold on to the ball. In the first half, they held on to the ball 54% of the time. They had less territory, but they kept hold of the ball. And then Wales couldn't do anything. So what did Scotland do? Give them the ball to do stuff with. No, don't give them the ball. And Wales then did stuff with that ball. And just, to me, Wales losing 6 bloody lineouts. It was actually France, actually, who kept kicking to the corner. And you're thinking, guys, no, take the 3 because your lineout's shit. France turned down so many points going for the corner. You're like, no, you're going to lose the lineout. Just take the 3. Wales, look, to be fair to them, when you're down 27-0, there's no point taking 3. You have to go to the corner. So look, they had to chase the game. And boy, they chased it well. One missed kick, one missed conversion was the difference between them winning and losing this game. This was not Scotland. Scotland just failed to lose this game in the end. They tried to win it, got themselves a nice big lead, and then tried to lose it. And luckily, they failed at that piece because boy, oh boy, how you let a team back in when you're 27-0 up. I looked at the score. I knew the score before I watched this game. I watched it on replay. I managed to avoid. I deliberately avoided the score for the Ireland. So the Ireland France game, I thought this is going to be interesting. I won't look at the score.
You got
but
it
for the
wrong.
other two games, I looked at the scores. I looked at it and just went. And I'm watching the game going, because I didn't actually look at any of the reports or any of the details. I just looked purely at the score. And I'm looking at this game thinking, how the hell is this 26-27? Because it's 27-0 at half time. Okay, 27-0. How the hell did they throw this one away? And the fact that Wales got the try bonus point and Scotland didn't. Oh, what? Please explain it to me.
I can't. There was. I mean, I was aching for just Wales to get some points on the board in that second half. It was like, look, honestly, Wales should have scored at least 2 tries in that first half. They had so much opportunity in that first half. They had so many, like you just pointed out the lineouts already. They had lineouts in the corner. They had penalties in the 22. They had attacking ruck after attacking ruck. Like, they were at the line a number of times, which a normal team that didn't have the feet hands should have scored.
Sorry, I've just seen something in the chat. Italy scored more tries than England. I'm sorry, folks. Massive corrections corner here. England weren't going for the try bonus points. Why the beep did they go for a scrum and not just kick the bloody ball out and have a 10-point win? I thought they had 3 tries.
It was 2-2, wasn't it?
No, Italy scored 3 tries. England scored 2. England weren't even going for the try bonus points, and they played on. Oh, idiots! Absolute idiots. Sorry. That should have. Yeah, okay. I agree. That's a loss. I'm sorry if you're going to be really pissing around like that. Hey, what were you thinking? You saw a 10-point lead. Time's up. You can't get a try bonus point. Just kick it out.
You know why? Because they felt like they weren't winning by enough because it was already a loss for them.
That it was not.
Yeah. There we go. Wales threw away too many chances though inside the 22.
Rewind. Yeah, you can continue now with your Wales thing. I'm sorry about that. I had to correct myself on that awful comment about Italy, England.
No, I was pretty much that's. Look, I was looking through that first half, and I mean, Wales should have scored a couple in that first half. I thought they were, I mean, through their own fault of their own, they should have done better with that first 40 minutes. They should have gone in with 7, 10, 12, 14 points on the board, and being within 10, I think, of Scotland. But they were too poor. They made too many errors. Again, their line-out was garbage. They were dropping the ball. They were just wasteful, really, really wasteful. They cleaned that up in the second half. I think there was a major, major, major difference. They actually held on to their ball. And they got fast ruck ball. Boy, they got some fast ruck ball. And Scotland's defence was just twisting itself in a big ribbon. It had no idea. They couldn't keep up. They were falling off tackles. Guys like Aaron Wainwright. I mean, Nick Tompkins, Aaron Wainwright. Wainwright was invisible in the first 40 minutes. Tompkins was absolutely atrocious in that first 40 minutes. How he come out to the second half, I didn't even know because he was that bad. Second half, he was really, really good. Wainwright was phenomenal. They just completely turned this game around, holding on to the ball, getting opportunities, just finishing off the job, right? Finishing off what they could have done. If they just got something out of that first half, Scotland would have been looking and scratching their head even more because I think Wales could have won that game with just a little bit of something going their way in that first 40 minutes. But for Scotland, they look like a different team.
Given Wales for I talk about Scotland. Look,
yes.
Basically, they started off with the wrong halfbacks. Costello and Williams didn't do the job. They brought on
Davis started.
Ian Lloyd Davis and Costello started. Yes. They brought on Lloyd and Williams. Lloyd on 36 minutes, Williams straight after half time.
Lloyd was phenomenal.
And those two changed how Wales was playing. So I think the key early substitutions did save Wales from in this one. I think that was what caused the turnaround. Yeah, he's got new combinations. He's learning. I would be amazed if you see Costello at 10 starting again this Six Nations. I know he's supposed to be the guy, but as you say, Ion Lloyd came on, did a good job, and I think he'll go, okay, you've earned this jersey now. Show me you deserve it, and actually give him a run in that jersey. Is what I would do if I was Gatland. Tough on Costello, who's been kind of the understudy, who's been the next guy in line, but you can't have performances like that first half. And you can say, oh, they didn't get the proper ball, they didn't get the platform.
They did.
I'm sorry, but no, that's you've got it. I think that was the big difference. Sure, there are a few other, and also changing Ryan Elias for Elliot D. Actually, not overthrowing was another big thing. So to be fair to the halfbacks, yeah, the line out did improve in the second half. But those three changes at hooker, 9 and 10, I think were what actually turned this around for them. And I think we'll see that reflected in selections for Wales going forward.
Yep. I agree with you on that one. I think that made it. The changes definitely, and there was a lot of changes at halftime as well for the Welsh. They did make the changes on the 40 while the players were in there. But I did notice the word Scotland. I mean, we know Finn Russell was such a key, massive part of that Scotland game, and you did notice the style of his play throughout that first to second 40 minutes, where a lot of those line breaks, the tries, were Russell taking the ball to the line and doing some great offloads. I didn't see that at all in the second half. I saw a Bowden Barrett Finn Russell of a catch, shuffle, pass. And I don't like that style of 10, no matter what colour his jersey is. So I found that really disappointing. The threat of your key threat is no longer a threat. Takes a lot out of your game. And I thought that really killed off Scotland with a little ball. Well, they got enough ball, but they didn't do enough with it. I think Redpath made a massive difference coming on. I kind of thought he should start and think that he may start this weekend coming up. So their changes late. They made a lot of late changes as well, did the Scots. So they didn't really fix anything, but they were a bit more effective than just beating on that old drum that they were doing for that 20 minutes or so at the start of the second half. But yeah, I just didn't like the change. And as much as I like players speaking their mind, Finn Russell put his forwards under the bus, boy. Did he put his forwards under the bus after the game? Did you see that press conference?
I didn't. But
the interview, he just said that the forwards, although the players did not heed the instructions at halftime of staying out of rucks, which I thought, okay, you've just, I like him saying what's on his mind, but okay, you've just thrown your forwards under the bus there because clearly he's not getting in a ruck. But I also thought,
but hang on, and to be fair to him, 16 penalties to 4. I mean, what the?
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that I've seen second half Wales had horrifically fast ruck ball, and they were still going in rucks when they shouldn't have been. Okay, so if you didn't go in any more rucks, then they're going to get rapid ball. Literally, I thought that Thomas Williams was indecisive going to rucks, and I had a good conversation this morning about this with some people on stream, and I thought Thomas Williams, I thought he was a bit slow, but I actually think other people's views on this was really cool, that the backline wasn't setting up fast enough for the fast ruck ball that Wales were getting, and they wanted less players, Scotland defending it. You're literally going to have a ball popping straight out, like you're going through the maternity ward and pop on babies. It was just incredible how fast they were getting. So, geez, yes, the penalties were a problem, but they needed to slow down that ruck ball as well, because that was causing them issues when they had guys just charging on in. And when your scrum half is getting to a ball that's presented before your backline or any receiver can get in position, that's fast. And your defense is not going to set faster than a backline is going to have one player ready to take a hit up. So, yes, good luck.
So, Dub City is going to book Newlands for the for Coldplay versus Roots. Brilliant. Thank you, Dub, for the star comment there as well. Much appreciated.
We were having a good old chat about this morning about coming on the show. So I think a few people might be coming in and checking out. Good to see Dub coming by. Dub's our resident American. Love learning the game. So it's really good to see Dub. It's great to see we've got a lot of new rugby fans coming through from different parts of the world. So yeah, Dub's really cracking on and learning the ways of rugby.
But yeah, they definitely fell off the bus somewhere in that second half. Yeah, whether as you say. The other thing is the yellow cards did play a big part. Wales scored 3 of their 4 tries under yellow card. So that's clearly is not good. But giving up 16 penalties, you're going to have yellow cards for repeat infringement. You deserve it. I'm sorry. If they had it my way, I would say every 5 cards you get an automatic yellow. But
penalties.
Penalties. Yeah, sorry, every five penalties is an automatic yellow. Would, from my mind. That way, I think we would clean the game up massively on that one. Not too right says the Scottish defence became passive as Wales were getting such fast ball. Yeah, it's very hard to be an attacking defence when you haven't got any time to set and you're going backwards. So
it was a snowball effect, wasn't it? A little bit of something, more speed, less structure, and it just got worse and it got worse and it got worse and it got worse. And Wales just eating up meters like it was M&Ms.
The M&Ms. So, folks, yes, if you want to send any M&Ms through, I'm sure we can find an address for you as well. Look, 445 meters for Wales, which is more than either England or Italy did, or France or Ireland. So, yeah, Wales had the most meters with ball in hand across the weekend with that one. But again, if you're going to lose 6 lineouts in that first half, also the turnovers 11-4, they just gave themselves too much to come back with. But also right sounds like a mental problem. Games are often won at half time when things are too easy.
Like we said.
Yeah. Something we talked about last week was the mental side of things for Scotland was going to be very important in the Six Nations. But I mean, the difference at the end in this game was Finn Russell made all his kicks. Wales didn't make all their kicks. They missed one kick. That's the difference in this game. Which, when you're 27-0 up, you shouldn't be leaving it to that. I'm sorry, but Scotland did very well to get themselves there. 2 tries of Duhan van der Merwe. I think is a pretty good. If you're going to go to the TAB, and we do not bet responsibly, folks. But I think that's a pretty good place for try scorer.
Captain of my fantasy team, Duhan. Yes, he was my captain. Double points, baby. Had Finn Russell as well. Great to see. Great.
So, next round then, we have got on Sunday, New Zealand time. This is, folks, because hey, we're in New Zealand, so we're going to do that. 3:15 a.m. Scotland versus France, followed by England versus Wales at 5:45, and then on Monday at 4 a.m. Ireland versus Italy. So, Scotland, France. Clearly, France have got to go in as favourites into this one. Scotland will, again, mental issues after conceding 26 points on the bounce. How is Scotland going to come into that? France, on the other hand, having been on the end of I'm sorry. I read an article where there's only 5,000 male players in Scotland in back in 1991. There was 15,000. Well, there you go. Which goes to show why they have their foreign player scouting network.
Duhan's Scottish.
Where's
Pierre? Hey, were all the Scottish tries scored from? Because Pierre Schumann scored a try, Duhan scored 2. Almost majority of Scottish tries were scored by South Africans. Here you go, stat.
What do you mean majority? All 3 were. They only scored 3.
They only scored 3. Well, there you go. All 3 tries were scored by South Africans. Bang. I can't remember if they scored 3 or 4, but there you go.
Yep.
Stat.
Look, I mean, Scotland and Wales, football is by far the biggest game in the country. It's not rugby.
Yes.
And Wales has become football as well. Scotland's definitely football. Anyway,
and cable tossing or whatever they call it, where they throw logs.
Cable tossing.
What is it called?
Cable TV. Caber.
Caber. Close enough.
So that's why Scott Swindles they use 26 nations. There are enough South Africans in there already. Well, yes, absolutely. Scotland, France. Scotland obviously having to overcome this problem that they've had, just shipped 26 points. France having to overcome the fact that they didn't lead during that game at all, and they need to start faster. But France have got to go in that one as favourites. Any other comments on that one?
No, I agree. If you're France favourites for me, Scotland. Yeah, I think Scotland are going to be going in a little bit more disappointed with their performance. I'll be happy they won. They were probably surprised that they were leading by so much at halftime, but I'll be gutted that they let that one go to how it did at the end. But yeah, I think France have got definitely a lot more up to go from where they were against Ireland, whereas Scotland, that first half was probably about as good as Scotland's going to get in the first 40 minutes of rugby.
Yes, and we'll see if Finn Russell manages to survive meeting Hawley's forwards after a few beers that evening.
Yes.
England versus Wales. At Twickenham, England would go in as favourites in that one, especially we're talking about England being a third, fourth place team, whereas Wales are supposedly fifth, sixth. However, Wales are coming off the back of just scoring 26 points on the bounce, realising they came this close to one of the biggest upsets, or one of the biggest comebacks, rather than upsets, sorry, one of the biggest comebacks in Six Nations history. So they'll come into that with a lot of confidence. Boy, oh boy, that should be an absolute cracker. England, yes, they got the win, but as you say, they didn't get anywhere near the try bonus point, and they gave up that silly try at the end there as well. So I think that is going to be a cracking game, but England again should go in as favourites. But boy, oh boy, upset. If I'm looking for upsets during this round, that's the one where I can see one happening. I can't really see Scotland upsetting France or Italy upsetting Ireland, but I can see Wales doing it against England potentially.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as confident as you on that one because I think you're going and looking at very, very different styles of teams that Wales are coming up against and the way that they played. So Scotland is a very, very different side to what they're going to get from England. England is going to put pressure on you territorially, high bully. They're going to kick. And that's going to be a very different challenge for the Welsh. They're not going to get as much, I think, chance to attack. England's defence was very fast. I noticed in that second half too against the Italians, they were up very quickly, putting pressure on those first and second receivers, and there was a lot of ball going over the top of those wingers trying to cut off those angles. So Wales have got a very, very, very different challenge. I think it's going to be hard for them to beat, but they'll be full of confidence. And yeah, I mean, that's number one thing, right? Get some confidence up, and who knows what you can do. Believe you can win. That's it.
And look, it's going to be a different challenge for England as well. Wales only allows Scotland to have 6 lineouts. Wales do not kick the ball out. They like to kick the ball in and have contestable. Elliot Daly running the ball back. Okay,
no kicking the ball back
or kicking the ball. Well, yeah, but it's first off, he's got to. Well, we'll see how. So happy with Freddie Stewart at the back there, diffusing the bombs. But yeah, Daly again, someone that I'd perhaps want to change.
Got to be contestable, right? That's the thing. Contestable kicks. Yeah.
Well, or smothering kick chase is the other one.
Yes.
So that's kind of how Wales like to try and play. That obviously came undone when they didn't get the kick. They didn't get that smothering chase right, and Finn Russell cut them open, and Duhan van der Merwe scored at the beginning of the second half. Why did that? So that's why, because they kicked the ball in field. They didn't get their kick chase right. They left a gap in the chase line, and that's what happens. So it does require a lot of discipline across the team to play that style, but that's how Gatland has always played. He's always liked to teach Welsh teams to keep the ball in play. Finally, then Ireland versus Italy. Look, Ireland have shown us already that they've picked a win now team, and that's going to be a comfortable win at home. Italy looking to be competitive as possible, basically. Just don't let it blow out, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one for the Italians. Like I said, they're the only team that doesn't really have a target area on their opponent to look for. They've just got to nullify those threats, that second row, that back row, that midfield. Nullify those guys. Hey, James, though, had a bar his boot. He had a very, very quiet night. The Munster man on the other wing, Nash, I think, was it Nash on the other wing? I can't remember. Was decent. But yeah, James O was pretty quiet. So if you can nullify that midfield, hey, give a challenge to the Italians. Nullify that midfield. Look after the likes of Omani and Byrne and stuff like that, McCarthy, and you may give yourself a chance. Yeah, they got nothing to lose. I 100% agree with that. But target the areas where Ireland are very, very good. Target those players that they are very, very good. And use your strengths. Your outside backs, that back line is silky smooth, man. You've got talent. You've got finishes. and you've also got power in your pack. You've got the weapons, you've got the ingredients. Now it's just believing and stepping up and tactically playing the right sort of game. And yeah, nothing to lose. You're expected to lose this one by 40 points. Go out and keep it within 10 or 15, small goals.
So one little question here, is Gatland the best Kiwi coach abroad ever, or Schmidt or someone else? Look, Gatland's had the longest tenure at international rugby and consistency. Schmidt picked up, I think, more. What did he pick up? No, probably less. Probably a similar number of. Definitely took Ireland to a level that they've never been to before, i.e., beating the All Blacks, etc. But there's a whole bunch of Kiwi coaches in Japan, for example, who've like Dingo Deans, who's had a fantastic career out there. That because it's not international level, we kind of ignore. So there's a whole bunch of guys at club level that have done a lot, but I guess at international level, Gatland's probably achieved the most of any Kiwi overseas head coach, unless you can think of anything different to that, Steve.
I would say currently not. Current coach, I would say is the best. But on accolades, I can't argue with on accolades. But currently, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Tony Brown, South Africa, that's not a topic for you, right? A very good coach. You got Josephs and guys like that. And Tony Brown is very much like a Wayne Smith, right? He's not a head coach, but his ability to consider plays and work in as a tech player and look after an area, he's very, very, very good at that. So I think, for Springboks, a guy like him is great, and there's a stack of talented. But I give him credit for the way Wales come back, because it was looking like, if Scotland put on 40 points to 10 in that game or something similar at full time, I wouldn't have liked to be in Gatland on Monday morning.
Actually, Jamie Joseph's taken Japan to the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup. That's the best overseas.
So did Eddie Jones.
No, he didn't.
He beat South. Didn't they go to quarterfinals when they beat South Africa?
Nope, because they lost to Scotland. So South Africa went through.
They beat South Africa though.
That's true. But he Ireland and Scotland to take them through as top of their group, didn't he? I think as well, from memory. So yes. So anyway, so folks, thank you very much. We've overrun it again by half an hour.
What a surprise!
What a surprise! We'll be back next week where we'll review round 2 of the Six Nations. We'll give you our in-depth analysis of all of the Super Rugby preseason games as we did this week. Who's been injured?
Go Crusaders! Destroy Bristol. That's all I want. Neither team can tackle, so it's sure to be at least a 100-point game. There's your TAB tip of the week. Bristol are terrible at defense. I'm sorry. Go watch some of their games. They are defensively woeful.
Do join Cornflake for his live streams during the Super Rugby game. So during the Six Nations games. I'll have my calendar.
Not preseason. Not preseason.
Like I said, wait till we get there. I'm sorry. What's happening next weekend?
And the Super Bowl Monday. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm working. I can't watch Super Bowl live.
Wrong T-shirt. Sorry, wrong T-shirt.
Anyway, so stay safe all. Thanks, Steve. Have a good time.